Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Tyler Marsh, coach of the Chicago Sky, does what Christy Sides and Stephanie White never did, and I am here for it. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. By the way, the part two of the whole Stephanie White thing is either should be out later today, depending on when you're seeing this. It's going to be out Sunday or Monday, just so you know. So Tyler Marsh got let's just say he got sick of the officiating. Okay, now watch, you can see right there, if we started this play, look at that right in the middle of the box. Chicago Sky player. Is that, I can't even tell because she's got her so mugged, but nothing is called there, okay, just so you know. And the Connecticut Sun go the other way. And then I want you to watch. You've got the two officials, three officials really, staring right at it. You see the official to the right, kind of under the basket baseline. Pay attention to that official because that's where Tyler Marsh is going to appear at the end of this. So we've got the mugging, right? Then the shot goes up. And boom, yeah, yeah, all right, I'm going to back it up. You see him coming onto the court. You see him coming onto the court. Okay. So nothing is called here, folks. And then Tyler's like, yeah, man, I've had enough. We move, wait, there we go, back in there. He's like, yeah, he is hot, hot, hot. My man is tired of this stuff. And then you've got the ref. Hey, 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 hey. Well, I don't think it was. I was going to say, is that the ref that did the thing with Caitlin? Because, don't forget, we had that too. And therein lies one of the biggest problems. You got even Angel Reese holding him back, and a lot of people wanted him fired because of the whole Angel Reese thing early in the season. But you had yeah, so here, like Caitlin for three says Tyler Marsh is 100% justified in crashing out at the refs. His player is completely wrapped up with two arms around her, and no foul is called. Every single WNBA ref needs to be replaced as part of the new CBA. We saw that with Sophie Cunningham was one time where that started something and no foul was called. And this is a real problem for the league. And here's what I think is absolutely wild though. And this is why I don't think that this is getting fixed anytime soon. I think you might get Kathy Engelbert giving it lip service, but I've had a lot of people say to me, like when I commented, because I commented on this and it got a lot of attention. As you can see, 21,000 views already, over 300 likes. I said all the things that happened to Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. And I don't think Stephanie White ever raised an eyebrow. And I will come back. I will circle back to that comment. But like a lot of people say, we need, they need training and they need to be full time and they need to hire NCAA referees and all of that. And here's the thing. Now, obviously they're not full time, but neither is the season. They get paid. Could they get paid more? Yes. But again, if we adjust it for 4 weeks, here's the thing. A lot of them coach, a lot of them officiate NCAA basketball. I believe most of them, if not all of them, came from the NCAA, and then they still do it, right? Because the seasons don't overlap. It makes sense for them in terms of money and all of that. So it's not like we're picking people up off the street or, hey, look, that 9-year-old boys basketball game didn't have any officials, so that one guy came out of the stands and he refereed the game and that went well, so let's put him in the WNBA. They actually are, believe it or not, experienced referees. Now we could get into, how did they get where they are? I mean, if you want to open that can of worms, when you look at who all of these officials are for this game, but to say they don't have the experience or we need to hire NCAA referees is, unfortunately, it's a great idea, but that's who they already are. And so that takes me to my next point that I think is why we may not see this get fixed anytime soon is if these are experienced, qualified, competent officials, that means how you are seeing these games. And I'm talking about the really egregious stuff like that play, or like, say, all of the stuff that's been happening to Caitlin Clark or all the things that you saw happen to Sophie Cunningham. That then means that the league has basically said in their training for these officials and what they want and what they don't want is that they're doing their jobs. That's the absolutely wild part about all of this is that they are probably doing their jobs. This is how they were told to officiate the games. That is how you got this whole it's a physical league stuff for all of these years. And I think that was purposeful all the way up to now because, again, they wanted to hide the lack of skill. And you do that by making the game more physical. When you bring in big bodies who bang around and you play, the game in the post, you're hiding a lack of skill with that physicality. Because as I've always said, the game should just be officiated according to the rules. And yeah, there's going to be a little interpretation as, how much body contact is allowed before there's a foul. And I get all that. But a lot of this gets cleaned up by simply officiating the games according to the rules. And yes, I think there's some incompetence involved as well. But I think it's also a lot of the league saying this is how we want our games officiated. And then you get players who are, shall we say, special that get singled out, like say Asia Wilson or Paige Beckers, and then you get the reverse of that, which is Caitlin Clark and all the things that we've seen that have gone on with her. I mean, let's take a little bit of a trip down lane if I can show these to you. But right, we had that with Diamond to Shields. That was not an ejection, folks. This was not an ejection, and we absolutely know that that was purposeful. I don't care that Diamond DeShields has her hands out there. That's what all dirty players do. You take your dirty shot and then you play innocent. Oh, I'm sorry. That was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. Not an ejection, right? None of this here resulted in an ejection. If I have this right? None of this. We had the eye poke. Then, by the way, that's JC Sheldon is actually bodying up Caitlin Clark and then acting like Caitlin Clark did something to her. And then, of course, we've got this. Boom, right? Yeah, not an ejection. Marina Mabrey is a fat piece of S. I'm just saying, I can't stand anything about this woman. Very, very, very unlikable, but that seems typical for the WNBA. We had, remember this? And she was close to getting suspension for this stuff.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball. So I don't know. It reminded me of the technical that I got in college where I said, damn it, where it's like a personal frustration. Had nothing to do with my team, had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a competitor and I felt like I should have been making more shots. So, but I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that. So I want to.
And if you recall, it wasn't long after this where Diana Taurasi did the same exact thing. And I guess they figured, well, we better give her a technical too. But they then rescinded that technical. They did not rescind Caitlin Clark's technical. And then wait, before we get to that, right, we just have here is another example that I think I've run through before where it's just multiple fouls up and down the court that we're going to let go. And then when she gets to the basket, and that's Marina Mabrey absolutely hammering her. You know, the lady who says she has nothing against Caitlin Clark. Remember that? All right. I didn't mean to, I wanted to bring that back because I just wanted to go back here a little bit, just as a reminder, okay, of what we've got going on here. This is right there. That is a left forearm follow through hard to the face of Caitlin Clark. And the official, as you can see, is standing right there, right there. And then, of course, to top it all off, we had we had this where there is a very calm conversation. Caitlin Clark is completely under control. And she was right, by the way. I won't go through all the things, but she was right about the situation. And obviously, he said something absolutely nasty and repulsive to her to set her off and take her from 0 to 100 miles an hour like that. And in fact, he walked away as soon as he said it. Let me just forget the refereeing part. This guy is a piece of crap. This is not a man. This is a man child who never grew up, who can't handle his emotions, who doesn't know how to deal with women because he's probably never been with one. And yet the WNBA has him officiating games. But as you can see from all of the Caitlin Clark stuff, and that is, yes, there's a lot of other nasty stuff that gets let go. But I think there's a extra in terms of Caitlin Clark, which makes it very clear, folks. This is more than just, oh, we need better officials with more experience. This is a league top-down directive on how games and specific players are going to be officiating. So shout out Tyler Marsh. We need more of that. I think that may be the only thing that might lead to better officiating. If you've got all these players who used to talk about how, oh, it's a physical league, who now come out and talk about the officiating and talk about the problem, and you've got coaches acting like this. And the last thing I will leave it with real quick, because I on my post I also had people talk about how, oh, Stephanie White got technicals and Stephanie White got fined. Yeah, but they were very subtle technicals. I mean, she sure didn't pull a Tyler Marsh, and she was very calm after the games. I mean, Sophie White, Sophie Cunningham has been fined like 3 or 4 times already for how she's talked about officials. I want a Stephanie White in a game to defend Caitlin Clark one time, like Tyler Marsh just did for one of his players. Just once. That's all. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. As always, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.